Would you describe yourself as an introvert or an extrovert?
Extroverted extrovert.
Definitely an introvert.
A people person. Wants, desires to be around people in the mix, in the midst of the activities.
I can survive in a crowd for a good 10, 15 minutes, you know what I mean? And then it's time to go home.
Also recharges when around others.
What is it like being married to an extrovert? It is freeing because as an introvert by yourself in a group situation, you've got to then carry the weight or be the weird person in the corner who don't want to talk to nobody. But when you have an extrovert on your arm, they can take the burden of that social interaction and you don't have to necessarily be in the middle of everything.
Oh my, there are challenges to being married to an introvert. Yeah, there's a lot of solitude, uncomfortable, quiet. It can be sort of kind of annoying. On my end, there can be a feeling of I'm being a pest or I'm being an annoyance. And then I will look at my introverted husband as not putting in effort or energy, being burnt out, being too tired of me. So there can be a lot of loneliness and isolation.
In the home setting, it was probably easier when we had children because children will constantly engage you for no reason at all. But once the kids leave the house and it's just you and an extrovert in the house, and now you are tasked with handling the burden of constant all-day interaction that you are not ready or prepared for.
Stop using the word burden before I drop kick you off that balcony.
Welcome back to 7997 with your hosts Chris and Jackie, two black immigrants living our best life in Mexico.
Hey, I'm back. I know y'all missed me. I missed you too. Did you miss me?
I mean, you've been here the whole time.
But I haven't been with the people.
Yeah, but I haven't had the opportunity to miss you. Just for that 1 week when you was gone. But I was gone that same week for most part anyway. So
that's true.
We was missing each other, I guess.
Not really.
See? You see how she acted? But anyway, we had a little week off last week. Hope you guys missed us. Maybe not. Maybe it's like, it's good to take a break from them for a while. They talk too much.
They talk too much. She smiled too much. And she laughed too much. That's what some of y'all say.
I mean, you do be smiling and laughing a lot. But that's why I love you. Anyway, what we're here to talk about this week is being in a relationship with an extrovert or an introvert, and how do those two personalities coexist in a space together without driving each other crazy, or at least surviving driving each other crazy. So this really kind of stemmed off a conversation we had last night, a conversation we probably had for years, just about how do we interact with each other, who needs space, who doesn't need space, who needs interaction, who doesn't need interaction. But maybe expand on, some points of that conversation that we had last night, like particularly the extrovert portion of it.
I use the word isolation a lot.
And I use the word overwhelming a lot.
You did not. You a liar. Listen, for all y'all who are listening and watching, please chime in because we know we are not the only ones. I would totally love to hear, let me tell you this dynamic.
Yeah.
I would love to hear from two introverts who are together. I would find that to be so interesting. There has to be like two, and no disrespect to librarians, they gotta be like two librarians married, or a judge and a librarian. It's just like they just read all day, and it's like, you good? I'm good. You got coffee? I got coffee. Got a newspaper? Got paper? And we straight. It has to be the quietest. One's gardening, one's reading. Right. Like, you know what I mean?
But I can imagine in that kind of relationship, that might just be a misalignment of timing, of like, when I'm ready to kind of come out of my cocoon is not when you're ready to come out of your cocoon. So you're like sort of missing each other and like, hey, I'm ready to go interact now. And you're like, hey, I'm not ready yet. And it could be some of that misalignment happening there.
That's interesting.
Or it could just be a quiet, peaceful home and y'all are perfectly in sync and y'all get together and interact when you need to. And when you don't, you go to your corners and you go recharge.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. I think I've seen more extroverts. I'll give a good example. Egypt and Mike.
Okay.
Right? I think I have seen that dynamic more than maybe the introvert.
But I don't know.
You
Are
understand what I'm
they
saying?
are they both extroverted or are they both television personalities?
Well,
Because there's plenty of people who like on camera are outgoing and they do all the extrovert. It appears that they may be extroverted,
which is
but in
actually
private
because
spaces,
you actually have come out your shell. I think with the cameras rolling, I find that you are more intriguing, more extroverted. You know what I mean? In a way.
because I can just do it with one person. Even though I'm out here talking to thousands, millions of people, millions. Get some
Not
views
yet,
up.
but bless the Lord. That's the prayer. But go ahead.
But it's still just me and you. So like as an introvert, if you're in a quiet space, not gonna assume if you're like an actor or something, you've got your people on the crew and whoever you're acting with in that scene, and like that's the people you're around. You're not necessarily thinking about the entire world looking at everything at the same time.
Okay.
So like you
and
can
it's
be
not a room full of people.
Right. An introvert doesn't mean necessarily you don't want to interact with people. It just means you get recharged when you're alone and have your quiet time. So I can still do this thing. I can still be in a group setting, but that drains me, whereas for you, it charges you.
Recharge.
Yeah.
Plug all the way up.
Right.
Need it.
Yeah.
Gots to have it.
Yeah.
And without it, it really is draining it's everything it is that it is for you on the other side. And so I think that as it relates to yesterday's, conversation, I think that was really the point I was trying to make. It's as draining, as exhausting as it is for you to be in, public spaces around a whole lot of people and right, all the time for a length of time. It is just as exhausting for me. And our lives have changed. So now our circle, my circle, has shrunk. And my activities that I used to do have changed, right? And so now you are majority of my people, but you're one person.
Right.
You are majority of my activities, but you're just one person. You have only but so many needs. And you want to throw out the little sound with me?
No, I really didn't get what the joke you were trying to slide in there. So I didn't catch it. So like
somebody else out there caught it. If y'all caught it, so just put a little wink in the comments.
you acting like you're on The Office or Abbott Elementary. You gotta stop and look at the camera.
Stop and look at the camera. And
joke.
Back.
Okay.
And then back.
Yeah.
But anyway, and I hope you took that as exactly what it was meant to be, and that was a cry for help.
Yeah.
Because we're each other's people, and it's so funny. I don't know if it struck you when I said it yesterday, but we've been together almost 30 years, right? And Lord willing, we got another 30 more to go, and it's a long time to feel that way. You know what I mean?
And I think when you think about a 30-year relationship, you're going to evolve through different spaces, different locations, different situations, with kids, without kids, with parents, without parents. And I think we're in a space now where before in the US, like you would leave the house, go to a 9 to 5, have your time to go interact with all the people in the world, and then come home and have your tank charged somewhat because you were out around other people. And even when you're working like in the restaurant industry, even then you're going table to table and having new people come up and having conversations, and that's charging your battery. Whereas now, like,
and totally engrossed in church as well.
So now here in Mexico, like for the most part, like you'll have an event, once or twice a week. Or if you do like delivery or something like that, like it's just you still, it's not a whole lot of people around. So like when you have events, you get charged because you got all these people around and you get all this energy. But for the most part, you don't have that. And then it becomes, you have a smaller group of friends here than you had back home. and they can recharge to some extent, but everybody's
Everybody's
working and doing
busy.
their own thing.
Yeah. Some are raising families, some are single and doing their thing.
Yeah.
So we're in different spaces. Even Mom and Baba Ty, they're still working and doing their own thing.
Yeah.
So it was like
right. And then when you're at home, you're expecting me to provide the activity, which is not my strong suit. And on the flip side of that, I'm expecting you to provide the quiet and the space.
And
which
I do.
You're not a good person doing that either.
I do that though.
You do it, but you don't do it in a way that is supportive of my particular rechargeable needs.
So
you do it and you sit in the corner and you look all fussy and frumpy and you don't want to act like, oh, I'm just over here by myself and I'm isolated and I'm going to give you your space. And like, it's not a joyful, oh, I'm going to go do something. I'm going to go be active and you got time to do your thing. You'll do that sometimes. But a lot of times it's you sitting in the house like staring at me like, are we going to do something now? What are we doing? So as you navigate through life, you navigate into different spaces and you have different needs. And like, if we were in the same space forever, we'd have the same problems. Now you got new problems in a different space. So like part of that introvert extroversion thing is how do you constantly touch base, engage, understand what each other's needs are in this new day and time? And how do we adjust for that? I think that's the space that we are in now. Like, the newness of Mexico is kind of worn off. We're very much into a sort of day-to-day grind or just regular schedule. The budget ain't budgeting like it was before. So like we're not out running and eating and doing all stuff all day long. And like we're in a smaller city. So like there's not a whole lot of new stuff now. Like there's still stuff to discover here. I'm not saying
there's still a lot of things.
But, most of the major stuff, when you're talking to people, oh, have you seen? Like, yeah, we've seen that. Have you seen that? Yeah, we've seen that too. So you start going into, I guess, your regulars now. Here, the place I like to go most often, more so than going and discovering something brand new. So sort of just settling into an everyday life routine and how do we make sure that we navigate that and provide the isolation or the activity that the other needs in that space,
Yeah. And I think for me, as it relates to the relationship piece of it, something we mentioned yesterday is like who initiates it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's important, you want the other person to take the lead on it. You know what I mean? And it's like, can you go ahead and do that?
And I will say, for the person who always wants the activity, she rarely wants to take the lead on what the activity is. I don't have any money,
so I need to take the lead and pay for it.
You not having no money never stopped you from doing nothing. Thank you.
We sit on creative.
So be like, oh, what we gonna do today, babe? And I'm like, I'm the introvert. I don't have no plan. But you're the extrovert, and you also have no plan.
It's because I'm trying to let you do something, do a little something.
Why? Why would you let me do something?
It's
when it's very clear I don't want to do nothing.
Y'all like, comment, subscribe, please. Please click the buttons.
So like you're trying to be considerate.
He's pushing my buttons.
You're trying to be considerate and say, hey, I don't always want to be the one leading the situation.
That is correct.
Let me let Chris do some of the planning or what have you.
I don't always want or need to drive the bus.
Chris don't want to drive that bus because Chris don't want to get on the bus.
What's your name?
You heard what I said. If I don't want to get on the bus, I'm not planning the route and the stops.
Oh, Lord.
So this, like every once in a while, I'll be like, hey, I want to go to do this thing. I want to go. Like that's when I'm ready to go out and go and explore. And I do that. But on an everyday basis, like, tomorrow's a holiday. Oh, what we doing tomorrow for the holiday? Sleeping in? Chilling?
What did we do yesterday?
The best thing ever. Sleep in and chill.
And the day before that, and the weekend before that, and the weekend before that. So
the weekend before that, one of us was in Maryland, and one of us was in California, and like there's always stuff.
I wasn't in Maryland. You don't even know where your girl was at.
You was in Maryland.
Y'all, congratulations to any of the graduates we have, and for those who are pressing and you still working on that graduation piece. That's where I was. I was in Virginia for graduation.
Same difference, DMV.
Whatever. Anyway, I will say this though. Part of it is just to, to give you the opportunity to plan something to do that is very similar to how it is like here on the show. I think we have, if not equal talk time, you may talk a little bit more than me because I'm in my head, I'm being thoughtful. And I don't mean like polite, I mean thoughtful.
Right, you want to make sure there's space in the conversation for two voices, right?
For two voices, and because you are normally quiet, introvert, if you will. I'm like, okay, give you that platform and that opportunity to do that.
And because I come up with most of the content ideas, I'm the one who usually knows what's going on. So you have to kind of follow my lead at times.
I feel bamboozled.
I mean, it's the honest truth of it.
I feel hoodwinked.
I mean, it's the honest truth of it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just something that I wanted us to do together. So I tend to take the lead on it, and you jump in when you can jump in, or you don't. But when it comes to sit down and you like, okay, what are we talking about today? You can talk about anything whenever.
Anything.
For the most part, off the top of the head.
Off the dome.
That's not me all the time.
I mean,
this conversation I could definitely have.
Which is so interesting because you guys don't know, but my husband is a phenomenal rapper. And he also writes, he produces music, all the music y'all hear on our show, he produced it. And I remember clear as day, a time when we were in Maryland and you were hanging with your brother. We were all over Dave's house, and y'all upstairs in the lab playing some beats and this and that, and then all the girls and the kids were downstairs playing and cooking and eating and stuff like that. And all of a sudden we heard this big old oh, we're like, what in the world? And then y'all came down the stairs like, oh, dope. And it's because this guy is over there freestyling and then, just, do whatever you was doing. And to me, I don't know if it's an extroverted way of thinking or whatever, but in my head, I'm thinking if you can do that, then it should apply to other areas. Just to be able to just, to just talk, let it flow or whatever. And have a conversation in a way.
But the difference is freestyle is not a conversation. It is
But you're communicating. To me, I'm putting it all in one
It's a train of thought, right? So like, it's literally whatever comes to mind. As you're saying it, you're putting it together and understanding, okay, I said this word, what in my Rolodex rhymes with that I can put in. And you're not necessarily saying a cohesive thought, right? It's a train of thought, but not a cohesive one. So you're not talking about, the War of 1812 and, some freestyles that are good enough can do that type of thing. But in general, you're just saying whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
And that doesn't necessarily work in a conversation. Like if you ever had a conversation with somebody who might be on the spectrum who isn't necessarily listening to the point, they're just throwing the things out that are on their mind at the moment sometimes. So like the conversation just jumps and goes and get left,
be muddled.
Right. So like in the same way that skill set is, yes, go and get what's in my memory banks and pull it up to the front and use it in the moment. But it's not the same skill set of having a cohesive, in-depth conversation with someone off the top of your head about something.
That's so interesting.
Particularly if you have like a topic that you need to be knowledgeable of.
Yeah.
If you don't have the knowledge of it, you don't have the knowledge of it. So you can't pull something out, You can find maybe ways to relate to it. But it's not just I can just say anything I want to just because it rhymes. It's a different skill set for sure.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. So now from yesterday, what is something that really has stuck with you, about it? Or how did the conversations make you feel, if you will, or what were your takeaways?
How did it make me feel?
Or just
I mean, from a feeling perspective, I don't think it's a new conversation, so it wasn't necessarily a surprise. It's a new conversation in this arena, in this context. Because, when you come home, you expect me to engage you with a ton of conversation. and it's sort of like, hey, Chris, what'd you do today? And it's like,
conversation, maybe even affection and just
Right.
a closeness piece to it.
Right.
And it's just like, hey, you'll help me with the bag.
because
so
generally I
got
just
stuff.
saw you 2 hours ago.
No, not
Like,
generally.
it's not that often that you're gone like at 9 a.m. and then come back at 5. It's usually like, oh, I went and did something at 12 and I did something for a couple hours and I come back home. So it's not even
It's a
like
mix,
there's this
though.
large separation of time that we're not together.
It can be
We
a
are together
mix.
20 out of the 24 hours of the day, usually. So do I?
Your math is
am I
not
also like,
mathing.
oh, when you come home? Probably
His-
not,
his
because I
math
just
is not
saw
mathing.
you. Like, you're not new here. I'm familiar with you.
His math ain't mathing. But keep going. You were talking about your feelings. I apologize.
Yes, my feelings. So really it's just adjusting to what's the new context, what are the new needs and standards for this particular context. And even now you're moving into maybe going into a full-time job out of something or doing another kind of business, which may take up your time differently. So, there's going to be a difference in that interaction as well. So the needs that you have right now, if you go more into your coaching side and you're talking to people every day about issues and problems, like you're going to get fed in a
wanna
different way.
get off the hook. You're not off the hook. You won't ever be off the hook. I want to be in your space. I want you in my space. I want to be in.
Now my other camera's going to be out of focus because you move spots.
I want to be together.
All I'm saying is the balance of how much I need to fill your conversation tank will hopefully be lightened depending on the context. And the same way you're going to feel like, okay, if you've been apart all day long, he's had plenty of isolation time and he should be ready to open up and give me some interaction when I come home. Mm-hmm. So there's both of us have a burden that can be lightened by you being out of the house anymore.
Well, I will say this. What happened?
See, I just slid that in there?
Insane. But I will say this. What I do take into consideration when I come home is the fact that you probably were working with the people. Let me tell you about this brother's job. His job, his work, his career set is behind a computer. But let me tell you what the people like to do. They like to have meetings about meetings and then have another meeting about tomorrow's meeting. So this brother you're always in front of 1, 2, 5, 10 people.
20, 30 sometimes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I do take into consideration that you are not just in the IT world, but you are actually engaging with your cohorts.
Yeah. I happen to work in a job where I have to be collaborative with other people
Correct.
in order to have a better output. So like Monday's a holiday. When I get back on Tuesday, I probably have 6 hours of meetings on Tuesday already scheduled. Mm-hmm. So that gets to be draining in more ways than one. Not just because some meetings are just me in the background, I'm listening and I don't have to do a whole lot of interacting. So it's not a big deal, but there's also other meetings where I'm presenting and I'm up front and I have to
I gotta talk to the people.
Not only talk to people, but also feel feedback and critique and explain myself, explain what I'm doing. And like that kind of interaction is a whole lot more draining of like, not only am I just talking with you, but you're also giving me feedback on my work that I then have to defend and say, okay, here's why I did what I did. Oh, I like that point. I can incorporate that and then take that away after the meeting and say, here's what feedback that I've gotten from them that I'm not going to take and feedback I am going to take. So like there's always this extra, not even within the interaction, but just of doing a job on top of interacting with other people, which is, still much better to do remotely than it is to do in person. Because at least you can turn off your microphone and your video and be gone and you don't have to see them. And if they want to talk to you, they ping you and hit you with a message, but they can't like catch you at the water cooler or whatever. Yeah.
In the bathroom, like, yeah, we done.
Because I've heard other people be like, yes, we miss from the environment to be able to just walk past your desk and stop and have a conversation. Like, I don't miss that from the environment at all. No, I like to have some freedom. Like, even when I worked in the building, sometimes you find a place to disappear to, We'd have like phone booths you could work in, and you can go in the phone booth and close the door and nobody can see you're in there. Or go in the office somewhere else that's not your office, find some place to disappear.
So-and-so's on maternity leave? I'm in her office. I'm out.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I am thoughtful about that.
Yeah.
So there are times when I am, and you don't, and obviously it doesn't seem like you see it, but I am giving you that space.
Oh no, I see it.
You do see it because you didn't.
I definitely see times when you are saying, hey, I'm gonna go do this thing, you chill out and have today to yourself or whatever. But there's also times where you are trying to give me space, but you want to be in the same room and look at me mad, which is not helpful. And you're like in the same space over here and like, I feel isolated and alone over here. And it's like, first of all, you can start the conversation.
Yes, I can.
Like if you're the extrovert,
I want you
start the
to
conversation.
initiate it. I want you to initiate it. I want you to initiate it.
I would rather for everyone to lean into their strengths, not their weaknesses. So if you're somebody who needs this activity, this interaction, why wouldn't you go seek it out? Why would you wait for somebody to come bring it to you? Because guess what? When I do bring it to her, she's not always open to it. She's not always in it.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
So since you observe, because I am cognizant of that, like, okay, especially on days when you have a ton of meetings, even something I'll do, I'm like, oh wow, he has a ton of meetings a day. I'll like make you a little snack plate, make you a little breakfast or a lunch, and it's like, because I know you got to come down, grab and roll.
Right, and I'll do the same thing. If you got an early morning or something, I'll come down and fix you some oatmeal, some eggs or something before you walk out the door.
No, right.
And then half the day, you be like, oh, I ain't got time for that. I'm out. And then you leave it behind. See how I get treated?
So no, what's going on is I was talking about what I'm doing.
I was sharing with you.
And yes, there are times when he will do a little something, but the timing is just off, right? It's like you don't realize I need to leave versus I can sit and stay. Whereas I know your itinerary is locked and loaded. You're gonna be up in the phone booth with the people. So there's a difference in that. But anyway, what I'm saying is, if I know you need the quiet time and the chill space, then if you know I need the interaction time, then I would love to see like, hey, let's go. We're gonna go for a walk, or it doesn't even have to be like spending money, right? It could be gonna go for a walk. We're gonna go find this spot. I heard about it. Let's just go walk and see if it's still open.
Oh, and I do that. I just don't do it as often as you need it.
Okay.
So like we went to the Empty Dead Mall, right?
Empty Dead Mall.
Up by across the street from Liverpool.
Oh yeah. That was for me.
That was just I wanted to get out the house. Hey, let's go, because I wanted to go see the Dead Mall.
But okay, so that wasn't. It was. I was included.
Yes, that was you. Again, like
right, there's a
you don't have to
that.
exclude yourself from that.
No,
so like if I go and get up and do
that.
something, it doesn't have to be specifically for you. Like I want to go to this place to go see something for you. But like you need the interaction, the activity. Accept the interaction and activity, even if it's not specifically meant for you. Even if it's something that I want to go do, it's still interaction and activity that you can get recharged off of.
That is
so like
not
it doesn't
wrong.
have to be less than.
Right.
Because it wasn't specifically for Jacki.
No,
Jacki can still benefit.
It's not about being less than.
So the same way when you have to go out and do something and I get some alone time,
leave a comment,
I don't
subscribe.
be like, oh, well, you didn't leave the house for me, so it's not all that. It don't count. I don't care. I get my alone time. I get my isolation.
No,
regardless
it's
of the
both.
reason.
It should be both. Because there are times when I leave when I have to leave out the house. And then there are times when I just give you that quiet space, right? And I think that's evident and known, like, okay, yeah, you get your chill space, especially when I know you've been locked up in meetings. Those are the days when I really, really, really am like, food is ready, I'm gonna go pick my nails or whatever. And that's because I just know you got lit up all day. And that's for you. I think there's a difference. No,
I'm not saying there is a difference. I'm saying you can benefit from both.
Oh, of course.
And one is not less than the other.
No.
The impact is still felt.
Yeah, yes, it is. It is. But
I just feel like you try and diminish it if it's not specifically for you. So like if I bring flowers into the house and I just got flowers because I actually wanted some flowers at the house. But you're like, oh, you didn't say the flowers were for me. So they can't have an impact
Wait a
on
minute,
you.
now are we having a relationship discussion, or we just
Well,
talking about introvert and extrovert?
It's cycling into some other things.
I just need to know which way we about to go on this thing. Do I need to get my notebook out, or do we need to go and wind this down and have a little private tete-a-tete?
We can leave the camera rolling. It don't matter.
The rumble in the jungle.
But maybe we are kind of veering off the introvert extrovert.
For the record, yeah, you may.
It might be time to wrap it up.
You may have some unresolved issues, but anyway, all I want to say is, as it relates to introverted extrovertedness, I truly believe that even though it has a name, these are things that are in our personalities for a reason. Because I believe the Lord gave us all gifts, talents, abilities in our own different makeups that go along and coincide not only with the work we're supposed to do, but it's also to link up with the people with the work they're supposed to do and the joint work that y'all are supposed to do together. So we obviously have a work that needs a mix though, right? But that mix doesn't have to be necessarily oil and water. You know what I mean? Though a good vinaigrette is delicious. Or, I was trying to...
If you would say it doesn't have to be oil and vinegar.
That's what I meant, oil and vinegar.
And then you went into vinaigrette.
That's what I meant to say. Listen, I got perimenopause.
But I mean, oil and water is the analogy.
Yeah, that it doesn't.
But the vinegar
part. I thought I said vinegar. And
Yeah. I know y'all got it anyway. Y'all
just cut that. You could cut that.
No, that's fine. I'll cut that down to like a short or a TikTok or something. We'll put that out.
But it doesn't have to necessarily homogeneously mix as if it's water and milk or something like that. It can be oil and water, oil and vinegar, and you can still see that these are two different properties, but they can complement each other. Yeah. And I think that's the big thing from the discussion. I want it to complement each other and not isolate and hurt one another. You know what I mean?
So I'm going to give you all a quick tip, and then I'm going to come back to your vinegar analogy. I think if I would say anything about being in a relationship with someone who is opposite to you, introvert, extrovert, is number one, give the other person grace and space. And also don't be afraid to ask nicely in the moment for what you need. So if you need some space right now, you need some isolation time, be like, hey, babe, love you. I need some time alone. Or if you need the conversation and the activity, say, hey, babe, I need to sit down and talk about something. I need to get some interaction. Like, it doesn't have to be waiting for the other person to initiate the thing that you need. If you know what you need, go get what you need and make sure they understand that they can provide that. And also look at, if that one person is not enough to provide for all of your interaction needs, get some friends. Go out to the people. Go outside. Do whatever you need to do. If your house is too loud and too busy and too overactive, like get out of your house and go someplace quiet. Go to the park. Like, don't feel like your partner is the only person that can provide the entirety of your need. Right. They should be providing to that need. Let's not get anybody off the hook. But they may not be the one who fills the tank to 100%. Maybe they get it to 75 and you need 25 from someplace else, or whatever your mix is. But back to your oil and vinegar analogy. In a vinaigrette, you can add an emulsifier.
Yeah, you can emulsify.
An egg yolk, some mustard. So if the extrovert is the oil and the introvert is the vinegar, what is the emulsifier to bring them together in a nice blend?
Jesus. Y'all like, comment, subscribe. You think I'm lying, but I'm serious.
You see, this is what Christians get away with all the time. Jesus, the answer to everything. How you get your chicken so crispy when you fry it?
The
Jesus.
Lord. Thank you, Lord. No,
we saw your alternator wasn't working. Why? How y'all? Jesus.
The word.
Jesus is the answer to everything, but he is also not the answer to everything. So we want to jump back in because guess what? While we were charging each other's tanks, the battery in the main camera was not charged enough.
You're welcome.
So we lost a little bit of that ending there. But as always, like, comment, subscribe.
Please and thank you.
Please and thank you. Buy a coffee, become a member, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll leave you with that. Just wanted to say goodbye because we didn't get a chance to because it cut off.
Oh, adios. Cuídate.
Aries Garce, take care and take a chance as always. And peace, guys.